Today we're going to talk about the number one single most important cancer you need to be screening for every year. Stay tuned for this extremely informative, potentially life-saving video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the single most alarming cancer that many of us are not even getting screened for, but we need to be. So today I'm going to educate you about skin cancer risks, different age groups that should be monitoring, as well as the differences in skin cancer risk factors for men and women, as well as different ethnicities and things to look out for. So this is going to be a very informative video for all of you joining me today. So welcome back to all of you regular viewers, and for all of you new viewers, my name is Dr. Melissa Gallagher. I'm a naturopathic physician and I am based in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Floridian. I literally grew up spending all of my time in Florida outside, either on the water, at the beach, running, exercising, gardening, and enjoying the beautiful outdoors. And because of that, as a grown adult, as well as some family history of some squamous cancer skin cells, as well as basal skin cells. These are histories on my dad's side, and actually he has had a lot of different lesions removed and burnt off. So as a grown adult, I am very aware that I have a tendency to worship the sun, and also I have a family history and tendency that needs to be monitored and assessed. This video, I'm hoping, will impact a lot of you viewers. This video is inspired by my own experience recently. As many of you know, I am very transparent about my own health journey. So every year I undergo all my normal annual health screenings, and more recently I went to the dermatologist appointment to get my full body check. Aesthetically speaking, I was more inspired this visit to have my dermatologist remove a mole on my back. I'm a very moly person, and a lot of you have commented about this mole right here. This one is not going anywhere because it hasn't changed in size and color. And while it might bother a lot of you, it doesn't bother me, and I'm not choosing a cosmetic solution. So that's just a little side note, because I actually get a lot of viewers who give me a lot of hate about my mole. So I have to laugh because it is kind of annoying that I get comments about, some appearance factors. So that's a side note, but most importantly, I have a wedding coming up. We're literally I think when this video goes live, I'll be 39 days away from walking down the aisle to Brian with Gabriel, and I am was really bothered by this one mole on my back. It had been removed, I believe, right before we found out I was having Gabriel, and then it seems like it grew back. So at any rate, it is unsightly to me. I wanted it removed, and that was kind of the impetus for me asking the doctor to remove it. Luckily, I'm seeing a new physician. He was like, well, this is really good because not only do you want to remove it cosmetically, it has some suspect features, and I definitely want to biopsy it. So I'll share with you what we found out and what I'm doing about it. But most importantly, this video, I'm hoping, will inspire all of you to get off your butts, pick up your phones, and call your dermatologist, because the stats. So I started digging into the stats just to understand a little bit about this type of cancer. I actually see patients post-surgically that have undergone melanoma type of tissue removal. And I can tell you it's not pretty in terms of just how deep they go to remove the tissue, how fast of a spread. And then also, melanoma just doesn't stay contained on the skin. It actually metastasizes very quickly, which makes it the number one leading cancer across the world. But most concentrated, it's in Australia and New Zealand, the US, some parts of like Finland, Denmark. I'm gonna throw up a map here of the skin cancer rates across the world. I know we have a lot of Aussie and Kiwi friends, and so I'm gonna tell you, each of you, I expect you to make a note on your calendar that tomorrow you are going to find a dermatologist if you don't have one. And if you do, I want you to go in and schedule your annual appointment, because your life might depend on it. If not now, at least you and your doctor can start to monitor some suspect areas or spots or moles or whatnot. If you are like me and you are a moly person, like I have a lot of moles around my body, the heavy concentration of my moles are on my back, and so I'm not always seeing them, which makes it important that if you can't visualize a suspect spot, that it becomes better for you to actually identify via your doctor some of those areas. So I have to apologize to all of you viewers. I feel like I've failed you in terms of not putting out this content sooner. I have a whole big schedule of content ideas and topics, and this has been on there. But I really got inspired when I posted on my Instagram feed my visit to my local dermatologist appointment. And I posted a picture post mole removal, and then I just asked, like, how many of you go to your annual skin assessment? Like, how many of you are booking appointments and do it? Friends, the stats were like, oh my God, jaw-dropping. Like, not enough of us are taking skin cancer seriously. So for all of you viewers that are screening breast and ovarian and prostate cancers and, you know, colorectal cancers, if you do all of those screenings, you have to add your skincare screenings. And even if you don't and you're too young, which by the way, if you are between the age of 15 and 29, you have the fastest growing rate of skin cancer diagnoses. That's crazy. Part of it is you guys are more active like I was in my youth and you're outside. And then, you know, I was haphazard about wearing sunscreen and being diligent about caring for my skin in terms of UVA, UVB protection. But as viewers, if you are between the ages of 35 and 75, that window, we actually see the greatest instances of diagnoses of not just melanoma, but other skin cancer types. So let's dig into some stats. 9,500 people a day are diagnosed with some version of skin cancer. Now, melanoma is the one that a lot of us fear. That is on the range of like really extreme. More common are basal cell carcinomas and squamous cell carcinomas. Those are often contained skin cell cancer clusters that can be either burnt off or gently removed. 1 in 3 of all cancer patients suffer from some degree of skin cancer. Melanoma being the most extensive type of skin cancer, 3 million individuals on an annual basis here in the US alone are diagnosed with non-melanoma skin cancer types. So the basal and the squamous cell are very common. Caucasians are 20 times more likely to be diagnosed with some version of skin cancer. This is a sad and extremely alarming stat, friends. African Americans are 4 times more likely to be diagnosed with aggressive, advanced, late-stage melanoma than any other ethnic category. So this is really crazy, and I know some of it is socioeconomic, but the other thing that we have to be really cautious of, it doesn't even matter our skin typing or our ethnicity. This is something that affects Asians and Latinos and individuals of all different ethnic backgrounds. But we do see concentrated stats in Australia, New Zealand, the US, Finland, the Netherlands, and also up in Alaska. So it becomes important that folks in those areas concentrated have screenings, but that doesn't mean that if you are of an ethnic background and you tan better or you have darker melanin, darker skin, that you are free of getting your annual skin health assessment. So let's talk about moles. Okay, so I started our video saying I'm a really moly person and I went to get my check, but I also wanted to I actually had 3 that I wanted to get removed. He removed 1. And then the other 2 we're gonna monitor. But so I'm gonna tell you, having done all of this research for this video for each of you and myself, I'm gonna be getting all of the moles removed. So it's not gonna happen before the wedding, but it will happen before the end of the year. Those babies are going goodbye because of these stats. Individuals like myself who have moles or are molier or have multiple moles all over their body have a higher risk and likelihood of developing melanoma at a rate of 4 times. So we who have moles are 4 times more likely to have a melanoma diagnosis. It's crazy. Very scary, okay? Very, very scary. 50% of all melanoma cases actually develop from existing irregular moles on individuals' bodies. Okay, so let's break that down. If you have a mole, you need to be getting your annual health screening. You need to go to your dermatologist and have them look at all of your moles. I don't care where they are. If they're at the bottom of your butt, they're on the inside of your thigh, if they're under your armpit, if they're in your hair, scalp line, on your back, on your feet, wherever they are, I don't care. You need to get them screened because atypical irregular moles are 7 to 27 times more likely to develop into melanomas. Okay, so I promised you at the end of our video that I would tell you what's going on. So I had my mole removed, they pathologied it, and the doctor promised that he'd have his office call me regardless of whatever screenings, whatever path report came back. Well, it came back that I have irregular, atypical tissue in that mole, and it was a really, really dark mole. We think that that mole, again, was one that I had removed back in 2014, about 6 years ago, in January. In fact, every January, like I said, I see my doctor religiously. We also have an area that we're gonna monitor right here that was a really dark spot, and he thinks it's a mole coming in right here. As many of you know, I've done some cold laser treatments. I recently had an IPL laser treatment, and I'm actually going to detail that journey over on my wedding channel, which, by the way, if you're interested in seeing the countdown, or now 39 days and counting to the wedding, there's a channel where I'm detailing a lot of my preparation, just planning and stuff. But at any rate, so the good news is they said you don't have any cancer, but we're going to monitor you, and we're going to have you come back in 3 months. We're going to look at that spot that we've removed, and we want to make sure that mole does not come back, because when they come back, this is the likelihood of it being a suspect tissue. And that's something that is really alarming. I mean, to be honest with you, it's really the first time I've had any type of skin-related tissue removal. And I've had, you know, multiple moles removed before. I had a big one over here when I was in my early 20s, and it was more of like, my bra strap is bothersome, and it kept growing, but it didn't change the color, and we were like, let's just get rid of it. That pathologied fine. The other ones from 6 years ago, pathologied fine. Not so much this one. And because I'm in my 40s, I'm 41, I'm in this category, like us between 35 and like 75. This is when all these things start happening, and cellular changes and aging and more sun exposure. And so I really, really, really felt compelled to create this video. More out of educating you guys, as I educated myself and really dug into, okay, what do atypical moles mean? How do I minimize this from going any further? So I have to say, I was already planning this video given the fact that so few of my Instagram followers voted saying that they don't get annual skin screenings. That, coupled with the call on Friday about my mole being atypical in its tissue structure and being monitored now, really got me invigorated to create this video. So I have to tell you some additional stats, because it is very interesting, the difference between men and women. They say, statistically speaking, that women have a greater likelihood of developing melanoma. So for all of you female viewers, please get that call going. Call and schedule your dermatology appointment ASAP. So if you have teenagers, call and get them their screenings conducted. If you are in your 20s or if you're in your 30s, it becomes imperative that you see your dermatologist. Don't delay, okay? Get those tissues checked out. And if they remove them, I promise you, it's not, I didn't feel it. He kind of did this whole thing where he did this numbing cream and just took it off, and it was totally fine. This mole up here was so big, they had to kind of burrow in a little bit. I had 2 stitches and I healed totally fine. I actually remember moving to Boston for my education, having those stitches in. I was like, oh, you know, I was moving and packing, and I don't even see a scar. And with my wedding around the corner, this little area that he took off, it will be lightly pink, and really, honestly, nobody's gonna notice. But my health is for the better because now I'm aware and cognizant. And my hope for you is that you will become aware and cognizant, and the first step is set up this appointment with your doctor. So on the flip side, let's talk about you male viewers. So you gentlemen have a greater instance if you're 50 or older. So your age category, 50 and older, you see greater instances of melanoma diagnoses. Now, I don't know if that's paired up with the fact that in your 50s, you do start to see like your urologist and different GPs, where maybe you didn't in your 30s or 40s. Regardless, men over the age of 50, please call your dermatologist and get your skin screening. So this is really interesting. The location varies based on gender. Women, the areas you want to be monitoring regularly are your hands, your arms, your legs, and your feet. Men, you want to be monitoring your face, your neck, and your torso, particularly your back. 30% of male melanomas occur on their backs. It's bizarre. Maybe it's because your guys take off your shirts and you're mowing your yard. I don't know. But the back is a big spot we want to monitor. Now I want to mention for women, hips is also a spot that's included. And I'm going to say this, just knowing like where I have different darker spots or moles, it's usually around the bikini line. And so that's an area you want to make sure that you have your doctor assess. So friends, I'm going to encourage you. I think I've probably said it 20 times. I hope that this inspires you to get off your butt, to get on your phone, make a call, and schedule an appointment with your dermatologist. If you don't have one, Google and find one locally. And I promise you, it's better to have the peace of mind. And if they have to burn off anything, send something to pathology. We're better equipped when we know. And when we stick our heads in the sands as ostriches, we're better off knowing, because then we can do certain things and monitor and screen. So my question to all of you, comment down below, let me know two things. One, do you get regular skin cancer screenings on an annual basis? And two, comment down below and let me know if you are going to be booking an appointment, because I really do feel like there are a lot of you out there that your life depends on it, and you probably don't even know it. So that would be my greatest gift to any of you, that if we can nip any type of precancerous cancer cells in the butt, get those addressed immediately, we can hopefully start to decrease these crazy stats of skin cancer being the #1 leading growing cancer across the board. It's crazy. So friends, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Most importantly, share this video. You know, we all know people in our family and friend groups that might have some areas on their body that look a little suspect. Send this to them, because it's a gift of love, the gift of health. And that is my gift to you. Thanks everybody. I will look forward to seeing you on our next video.